Oh yeah! What's going on YouTube? It's Coach PJ coming to you live from FightCamp HQ. Today, we're gonna build up some mastery in that rear cross, otherwise known as the 2. Let's jump right in. So one of the most lethal strikes in all of boxing is that rear cross. We've seen Floyd Mayweather land it time and time again because it's effective and it works. Now, the rear cross in orthodox is going to be your right hand. In southpaw, it's your left hand. It can be one of the most useful tools in all of boxing, but let's dive in a little bit on how and a little bit of tips and tricks here, how to perfect it and master it. Now, mind you, there are multiple ways to throw the rear hand. This isn't the only and the most practical way. I'm not gonna gatekeep and tell you that this is the only secret and the only way to throw the 2. But there's some things that you might be able to pick up here today that'll make your rear hand unbelievable. Give you that knockout power, like Deontay Wilder. Now, one of the greatest and the most important aspects of that rear hand is going to be your stance, right? Making sure that you're set up with a proper stance with your weight distributed somewhat evenly. Some people will say 60-40, 50-50, 70-30. Find what works for you to be balanced between my lead and my rear. I don't want to ever have too much of my weight on that front foot, and I definitely don't want to have all of my weight on that back foot. But you need to have some sort of happy medium where I can shift my weight and drive to my target and back, or better yet, through the target and then back. So once you're in that proper stance, right, there's a lot of fundamentals and a lot of coaches that will teach you to really drive all the way up on that toe, right? And that can be true, but you can also look at some of the best fighters today that simply shift their weight and drive, and that toe barely leaves the ground. They're shifting and driving through, making sure that you're gonna create kinetic energy from the floor all the way up through your target. I think one of the most important foundations that you need to build after you work that stance is to drive power from the ground up and not overextending yourself. Now, as I shift my weight from my rear to my lead, I don't want to shift my weight up and have all of my weight onto that leg. I want to be able to shift my weight, keeping my head in the center. That's one of my favorite tips. If your head stays in the center, as I throw that 2, I won't commit myself and put myself in a bad position with my head closer to my target or my opponent, right? So, settling into shifting your weight, being balanced is going to be key. I like to just set up with the 60-40 with most of my weight in my rear, a little bit of weight in the lead. So as I shift and I drive that 60% from here forward, I can now stay balanced with my head still staying in the center, right? Now, as I drive from the floor, what has to happen? I'm gonna rotate that heel, I'm gonna rotate that knee, and then, of course, that's gonna turn into my hips. Hips are gonna be one of the most important things that you move when you're throwing that 2, all right? If I just extend and I drive from that floor and I don't get the hips involved, I'm just gonna throw an arm punch, okay? I can set up and look really cool and be nice and controlled and look like a fighter, but then if I just throw that arm, I'm not getting any power. If you don't extend all the way up through the ground and go all the way out, you're gonna be leaving power behind. You never wanna just have an arm punch, okay? Get your whole body involved behind every aspect of this cross. Again, driving from the ground, rotating those hips, and then once I'm getting to that position where my body is creating energy, I'm rotating through, I'm gonna now do 2 things. I'm gonna rotate and extend my arm and the knuckle together. So again, I'm rotating from the ground, I'm rotating with my core, and I'm also rotating with that shoulder. And finally, where the punch is gonna be landing at is those top 2 knuckles. I wanna make sure that I rotate and turn down. Now, you can have the thumb up, you can have the thumb all the way down. Happy medium, find what works for you. I already said it. This isn't the only way to throw the 2. Find what works for you and apply it in your own training. Now, back to this, I want to rotate and turn that knuckle over top so that I land on those top 2 knuckles. As I'm shifting, as I'm driving and rotating through, another big key is gonna be that I breathe, right? Everything starts with the breath. So I've always been taught to breathe in before I throw, and then as I'm extending and throwing that punch and torquing my body, I'm gonna exhale like I'm letting a little bit of air out of a balloon. All right. Now, once I get that breathing down, the rotation down, there's a couple of little minor things that we can tweak to make that cross even better, right? What I'm gonna try to do is extend my shoulder up and protect myself. If I throw my 2 with great form, driving from the ground, great rotation on my hip, I even turn the knuckle over, but I throw it a little low and I expose my chin, well, what am I doing? I'm putting myself in a position where I can get knocked out. All right, so protect the chin, keeping the chin tucked and keeping the hands up. So as I rotate all the way through that 2, I'm gonna have my chin protected. You can't even see my chin right here. Here's the difference between me having the chin down and my shoulder up high, as opposed to even my chin down and my hand down low. I wanna keep that chin protected because you know the #1 rule in boxing is protect yourself at all times. Last little tip with that cross, I'm gonna tell you to keep your lead hand up and tight, right? Think about figure skating. I asked you to think about figure skating. I know it took you a moment. Hey, me too. If you look at great figure skaters, when they wanna go fast, what they do is they keep their body nice and tight. They wanna slow things down, they extend out. Your body, right, you're an athlete, it's no different. If I wanna go fast, I wanna keep everything tight, controlled, and concise to my body. If I let this stay tight, I can throw with more practicality, more power. If I wing that elbow out, what I'm doing is opening up that diameter and I'm gonna slow down this punch. So even though you're throwing the rear hand, that lead hand and that lead side of the body is crucial and it's important to pay attention to. So keep the elbow tight, keep the hand close, and rotate and reset. So there's a little bit of the foundations of the 2, from the ground up, the rotation, the elbows in, the hand and knuckle turning, as well as the breathing. So as you perfect and master this 2, remember, repetition is gonna be the key to mastery. So record yourself, get along with a coach that can help perfect your craft, and with all that you do, continue to inspire that fighter within. Now, if you like tips like this and you want to improve on those skills, download the FightCamp app today, where you'll get to train with fighters just like me in the comforts of your home. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know when we drop videos and tutorials just like this one. Until the next time, y'all, Coach PJ signing out. Peace and love.
This is FightCamp, an interactive training camp from the comfort of your own home. Tutorials and guided paths walk you step by step through the basics and sharpen your technique over time. Punch tracking technology and leaderboards provide you built-in motivation to help you hit your goals. Learn more at FightCamp.com.
Your workout, and I don't expect you to be going non-stop.